Are you looking for a new whiskey adventure? Then climb in and buckle up. Get ready for one hell of a ride on the Whiskey Trip podcast with your host, Big Chief. Join in as he and his guests explore whiskey and dive into whiskey stories from around the world. Now here's your host, Big Chief.
Folks, you know, here on the Whiskey Trip, we celebrate more than just the pour in our glass. We celebrate heritage, tradition, and the stories that make this country what it is. That's why I'm proud to tell you about our friends at the Heritage Flag Company. These aren't just flags, they're handcrafted works of art built from whiskey and bourbon barrels that once held the spirit we all love. Every cut, every nail, every burn mark tells a story of patience and craftsmanship. Just like the whiskey we sip, these flags are bold, timeless, and full of character. Whether you hang one in your home bar, your man cave, or gift it to a veteran or first responder, a heritage flag isn't just decor. It's a statement. It says you believe in freedom, tradition, and the legacy we pass down. So saddle up, whiskey family, and head over to theheritageflag.com. Use code WhiskeyTrip10 at checkout for 10% off your order. Let them know Big Chief sent you. Because just like your favorite pour, the Heritage Flag Company is made to be shared, honored, and remembered. Now let's get on to the show. Hey, it's old Big Chief from the Whiskey Trip, and yeah, you're taking another ride with me, baby. And I got another great episode with you. You know, I've been seeking out these craft distillers. I'm in Colorado. I don't think there's a guy on the face of this planet that will drive to the ends of the earth like I will to find a great story. And I found one for you today. And I've had this whiskey in the past. I'm here at Spirit Hound Distillers in Lyons, Colorado. And I got Craig Engelhorn. I knew I was going to mess that up. You told me like 5 times.
That's okay.
Craig Engelhorn with me. They're co-founder and head distiller.
Yep.
Master tinker.
Yeah, a little bit. I like to tinker. I like to make things. I consider myself a maker.
You look like a tinker. That goatee you got going. You got the hair pulled back a little bit. And I've had your whiskey in the past on past trips to Colorado, but I was like, man, I got to make it up there this time. And I reached out to you and just a cold call to you. And you answered that phone. You actually told me you were doing a tour. And then.
That's right.
But I'm persistent.
You are. And it's good. Because I'm a busy man, as you can understand. And I'm glad you got a hold of me. This is super fun. I'm glad you're here.
Well, Craig, Colorado was a big brewery town for the longest time, right? Or a big brewery state. And it wasn't really known for whiskey for the longest time, but this movement started happening. And most people know Colorado for the Rocky Mountains. They know it for Coors beer, right?
You bet.
And I love me some Coors Banquet beer, by the way. I think most listeners know that. I don't shy away from telling people that. If you've seen a photo of me in a bar, I'm probably holding one of those little banquet bottles. But Colorado came around about whiskey, and then these distillers started popping up, kind of like that. But that's where you cut your teeth at is in beer, right?
Yep. I started in beer. We have a brewery in Lyons. I started in Lyons called Oscar Blues. You all might know their flagship beer, Dale's Pale Ale. And when I moved to Lyons in the late 90s, this fellow had started a restaurant, and I basically teased him into putting a brewery in his basement. And I was the original brewer there, and their beer Dale's is actually my old homebrew recipe. And so that's where I got into beverage alcohol. It's a very fun and rewarding business to be in, or industry, I should say. I came from telecommunications, and it was not friendly, right? We're all against each other trying to do our own thing. And the craft beverage alcohol world is very collaborative. We almost all try to help each other out, and that's so rewarding.
Now, listeners probably thinking, well, Chief hasn't drank any whiskey yet, but you poured some whiskeys for us. What's our first glass?
All right, this is an American Single Malt. So this is 100% malted barley, all Colorado. We say grain to glass. This is a Colorado product. We're supporting Colorado agriculture down in the southern part of the state near a little town called Alamosa. in the beautiful San Luis Valley. And when we started this business, because I have the beer brewing background, I understand malt. I thought let's make a malt whiskey, and I can use my understanding of how to ferment malted barley because I knew nothing about corn. And we started off with a recipe that has a small amount of peated malt in it. You might catch that a little bit in some of the barrels. We're all single barrel all the time, so that's another unique thing about us. But again, 100% malted barley, a little bit of smoke, 90 proof, this one, and very pleasant whiskey to drink.
I gotta say, the nose on this is spectacular. There's these little bitty waffle cookies that I like to eat.
Okay.
With caramel in there, and I'm getting that that waffle cookie with that caramel inside. Very, very beautiful, light, that honeysuckle, like walking down the road as a kid on the nose. Very beautiful nose on this. Well, I say cheers to you, my
cheers.
friend. It's got a little spice to it, and I find that surprising on a single malt. Usually, you don't get a lot of spice, but I'm assuming that's from the barrel itself.
Probably. That's a character that comes and goes from barrel to barrel. By the way, this is barrel number 519 that we're tasting.
519.
Yep.
And what type of barrel are you using?
Number 3 char, white American oak from the Independent Stave Company in Lebanon, Missouri. And we've used them for all of our barrels. So that's the barrel profile we make our whiskey with from day one. We do a little char 4 sometimes too. But consulting with those guys when we first started, telling them we want to make a malt whiskey, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you should use this barrel profile. And I think they were right, because it really puts out a fine product, especially in our environment.
It's got this just layers and layers of flavors to me. That waffle is in there a little bit. That caramel I was talking about. A little bit of deep honey. That rich, maybe some mountain honey. And maybe that's that terroir from around here. Because we're up in altitude. What's the altitude here?
5,335 feet.
Wow. So we're up here a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. A little over the Mile High City.
Struggling to breathe from a big ass. If I had to go on a hike today, I'd be struggling. I'm not no mountain goat. I'm a mountain mule.
You'll acclimate. Trust me. It worked for me. We first moved here, and I had headaches for days.
For days, yeah.
Yeah.
So how did Spirit Hound? How did it start?
Well, way back in the beer days, about the year 2000, before there were any distillers in Colorado, I called the Liquor Enforcement Division and I said, hey, I got a brew pub here in Lyons, Colorado. I want to buy a little still from Vendome and put it in the corner and make some wash, and I can make a little whiskey. Because nobody had kind of blazed that trail yet in Colorado, the people I talked to didn't really know how to answer all my questions. And Mike, the easiest way I can describe it is it took about 15 minutes on a phone call with the state to kind of suck all the fun out of the whole idea. And I'm like, nah, I'm busy making beer. I'm just going to go back to beer. Fast forward a bunch of years, and a good friend of mine kind of remembered that I wanted to make whiskey, and he got behind me and pushed, and we partnered up with a couple other guys. That would have been 2011 or so, and we formed the company and started production in 2012. So I kind of got my dream. We are a relatively early Colorado distiller. I think we had the 34th permit when we started. Many have failed that were in front of us, so we're definitely in the old guard of Colorado whiskey. But the Stranahans, the Beach Streets, Breckenridge, those guys, they were early. And it's fun for me because I get to be part of it. And when we first started, I was on distilling forums, and like you mentioned, Colorado is new to whiskey. People didn't know, but we had a great heritage in beer, and Colorado really still to this day has a great name in beer.
Yeah.
And I was on a distilling forum, and somebody made the comment that I don't think they didn't think that a craft distiller could ever quite make the quality of whiskey that the big guys could. And again, I've got a beer, Dale's Pale, that's a nationwide product under my belt, and I'm like, that started in a craft brewery. I said, I think the current whiskey industry is going to be paying attention to Colorado in another 10 or 15 years because we know what we're doing. And that's exactly what happened. People are taking notice of Colorado whiskeys.
So pretty much somebody told you, hey, you can't do that. You said, here, hold my beer and I'll make me some whiskey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that attitude. I love that frontier, just do. Don't ask, just do it.
Just make it happen.
Lyons is we're about 30 or 45 miles north of Denver right here.
Yep.
And it's really the front range of the Rockies, right?
Yep. Yeah, we're right in the foothills, so you're kind of driving along the plains, and then the mountains open up, and Lyons is right there. We're right on the track to Rocky Mountain National Park.
Two highways to it, right?
Yep.
Double gate is what they call it.
Double gateway. Yeah, you did your research.
Maybe a little bit.
Well, this little highway out here, Rocky Mountain National Park, for the last few years has been the most visited national park in the country, and so there's an insane amount of cars. I think we have 6 million cars a summer go by our place, which for a little 2-lane highway in a town of a couple thousand people is quite a big deal.
That's that free marketing they talk about, right?
It sure is. Yeah,
you get them to drive by, and a husband's like, you know what? Before I drive up there,
Mike, they stop at the gas station next door, and then next thing you see is they don't even move their car; it's still at the pump, and they're in here. What do you guys make? So it's awesome.
I love that. I love that. Just that Colorado do. I'll keep saying that throughout the show, but that frontier spirit of I'm going to make this happen is beautiful, and I can tell that as we were driving up through here, and there's a lot of sandstone here, and that's what Lyons was a big mining for sandstone, or quarries for sandstone, and they're making all kinds of buildings out of that. They're making all kinds of stuff out of this. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I mentioned to you guys, if you go to the Red Rocks Amphitheater, which was put together by, I think it was the Works Project Administration right in the 30s to give people jobs and keep them employed. The sandstone seating in Red Rocks is all Lyons sandstone.
From here?
From our little town. It's a business that started here in the 1880s with several quarries and has been very steady in terms of growth. We didn't boom and bust. Lyons didn't grow to some giant size and shrink back down. We're kind of about the same size we've been for a long time. It's a wonderful town to be in.
I love that. And there's still buildings downtown Denver that are built out of
Yep.
that sandstone, right? I love that. There's another craft distillery in Jasper, Georgia. I stopped by there, and that place is famous for marble, and I didn't realize it at the time, and white marble. And all the marble for Arlington National Cemetery, the headstones, are made out of there. So to me, getting to visit two towns like this and two distilleries in those towns means something to me. That heritage, that that Colorado frontiersman of, hey, roll up your sleeves and let's go to work. And speaking of going to work, we were touring your distillery, and your pot still is absolutely beautiful. And I'm looking for a name on there, and I'm like, I wonder who made this thing. And I was like, I don't think nobody made that. I think, somebody made it, but I don't think it came from a company. You made that. You hand hammered that yourself. You had no metalwork experience before that.
I did not. I had welded about 1 inch of sheet metal with a wire welder in my entire life. And so I learned how to TIG weld copper and how to move copper. And, it took, as I was saying, took about 500 hours of labor to put that thing together. And it was kind of a fun project because we had a lot of naysayers. They're like, "That's going to leak. You can't weld copper. Blah blah blah." And again, hold my beer. And it turns out that still makes some really nice spirit.
I can testify to that right there. It's amazing whiskey. We had a whiskey, your very first barrel that you made. You still have some of that left, and you given me and my wife, Miss Viv, some of that whiskey. Now we're back there talking, and she's like, you asked her if she had a glass, and she left it over here, but it was empty. And then she saw my glass. She's like, "You haven't drank that yet?" And I was like, "No, I haven't drank it yet." She wasn't wasting any time.
Awesome.
She always says, "Oh, I don't drink whiskey," and I'm like, that's bullshit. She drinks whiskey. She drinks whiskey the best of us. I'll tell you that.
Awesome.
So your steel out there, you have another steel, and that one's ingenuity. It didn't start out as a steel. It's just a stainless steel tank.
Yeah, it was a 800-gallon tank, and quite literally, one of my neighbors called me and said, "Hey, I just saw this tank down in Boulder on Craigslist for cheap. You guys might want it." And we drove down that day and bought it. And we had the tank, and it's like, all right, now we have to build the rest of the still around this tank. And what we did was we built a hat that went on top of it. And we built a condenser for it, and that particular condenser is kind of a counterflow thing. People would call it a Gatling gun or a shotgun style condenser. But when we operate it, I didn't tell you this before, we push filtered cold water into the bottom of the chamber, and the water rises as it's cooling the vapor, and the water gets hotter. And the vapor turns to liquid and runs out, right, going the other direction. We bleed the hot water off at the top of that condenser and store it into a tank up above, and we're using our wash still to preheat the water for our next mash. We just save that, and because we just made hot water by running the still.
I love it. I love that ingenuity. So I've already drank that glass right here, but you got a second pour for me.
Yes, yep, I'm going to catch up with you.
What's in this second pour?
This is a special one. This is a sherry cask finished American Single Malt. It's a big old sherry butt. So our whiskey barrels are 53 gallons. This sherry butt is about 120 gallons. So it's a big dog, right?
Yeah.
And remind me, I'll show it to you. We scored this from a very small winery in southern Spain, in Andalusia, Spain, where they make sherry, called Sanchez Romate. And this particular sherry cask, I got to be friends with the company. Sometimes you do better, with a little honey and like making friends than you do if you get all belligerent.
Isn't that right?
So kind of made friends with these guys. They had a lot of 20 to sell, and we ended up with the best looking one out of the lot. My team would only allow me to buy one because it was expensive, and expensive to ship all the way across. So this was a sherry cask, very special to me. I was born in 1961. This particular sherry cask started making sherry wine in 1961.
Really?
So it is an old barrel. The hoops are super rusty. It's beautiful. It's made a lot of wine in its life, and it showed up here. They emptied it. They used it in a promotional video. They put it on a ship. They sent it to us. The day it got here, we filled it with whiskey. So we didn't waste any time, and it smelled amazing. Like dried fruit, like raisins.
Yeah.
And oh my God. So we filled it with barrels that were 4.5 years old, and we were able to fit 3 of our whiskey barrels into it, minus a couple little bottles, because the Angel Share had taken them down from 53 gallons to 40 or so over those 4.5 years, and we let that whiskey sit in there for 4 months, and then we bottled 2/3 of it, and then we had another 4.5-year-old whiskey from the same season. These are bottled in bond rules. This is a bottled in bond whiskey as well. and we, put that extra barrel in there. So what we're drinking is the next 4 months, the second expression out of that barrel. What I love about this is I get those sherry notes, especially on the nose. It's super rich. It's done very well critically. This is also your giveaway bottle.
Yeah, we'll talk about that giveaway on the second half.
And this is our highest priced product. This retails here in the tasting room for $120, and it's fantastic.
Well, I'll say cheers to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Wow. When you talk about like raisins and cran raisins and that dried fruit, really powerful in this. Very, very sticky. I was looking at the legs on this for 100 proof, and I'm just amazed at that. Some whiskeys you see at 100 proof or 90 proof, and you don't have any legs at all. It just runs right off there. This is sticking to the glass.
Look at them hang there. Like just stuck to the side.
Beautiful, beautiful whiskey. Just a beautiful palate, and it sticks to your palate. And it's got this nice long finish. And I know some people are like, it can't have a long finish. Yes, it can if it sticks with your palate. And that's what, on the sides of my cheeks, I feel it. Not, maybe it took that spice out of that single malt a little bit, that barrel spice, and layered it down with some of those sherry characteristics, I think. Very beautiful whiskey right here.
Thank you.
Good Lord. Now, you're making some whiskey. Your craft distiller, how many barrels are you guys laying down a week?
We're slow right now. We can do, our max is 9 barrels a week. We currently have roughly 700 barrels in stock. We love, God, I love making whiskey. It's so fun. Filling barrels, rolling them around. It's the best.
Well, I love that. So what proof, you're up here in the mountains above a mile, what proof do you go into the barrel at?
We go in high. We go in at 125, which isn't necessarily normal. But the reason I started doing that was because barrels are expensive. So I'm going to put as much alcohol in the barrel as I can and get as many bottles out of it at the other end. I didn't know what I was doing. I had not distilled anything before. I brewed beer, but I had not distilled.
Sure.
So this was all a grand experiment, and we made that decision early on. Later in life, I learned that there's some esters and aldehydes that get created during the aging of the whiskey, during the maturation, that are helped along at higher proofs. And I also have a personal thing. Whiskeys that go into barrels at lower proofs, again, this is Craig's opinion, I get sometimes a sort of wet wood character out of them because I think there's more water in that whiskey, and so that the water is extracting that kind of wet wood flavor.
Sure.
And I get it in some very, very highly awarded whiskeys, and it's a personal thing. It's not my favorite character. And so at a higher proof, I don't get as much of that, and I appreciate that personally. So
I love that you dig in like that, and you're still educating yourself and learning every little technique. And we were talking, and you were telling me things, and I was taking it all in. And at first I was like, I bet he thinks I'm rude because I'm just taking photos. But I'm sucking in every piece of information I can get. And learning, just like you're learning of how to try to improve your craft, right?
Absolutely.
If you're not learning, then you're probably just stuck in a way.
Yeah, then it's over if I'm not learning. The staff here, they like to call me the professor, and my response to that is I'm the student, right?
I mean, there's something to learn, even from young folks.
Of course.
To learn how they operate, and I find myself every day learning something new. Hey, how does this generation socialize, right?
Right.
And one of the ways I find out that people socialize is with whiskey.
Sure.
It opened a lot of doors for me. Like you said, you get a lot more flies with honey than you will with salt.
Absolutely.
Or You get old Pooh Bear. You give old Pooh Bear some honey, and he will be a tame bear. If you're mean to him, though, give him vinegar. Probably gonna act like a grizzly bear.
Yep.
I love it. What a beautiful whiskey this is. Now we're setting in your guys's one of your tasting rooms. You got to have 2 tasting rooms. You got this room right here, which has a bar in it, and then you have another big bar on the other side.
Yes.
This one's kind of a little entertainment spot. That's more of a set around a big bar. And
Yep.
Let's drink. Let's get to business. Let's drink some whiskey.
Yep. And they both serve kind of unique purposes. This becomes a nice event room. If somebody wants to rent this out and do, wedding party or whatever, it works really well for that. It's intimate, and there's a big patio attached to it. So summertime, there's lots of space.
Now behind us, you were telling us about this wall, and a lot of people might have saw the Colorado floods that had happened, and a lot of people don't think, Colorado Rocky Mountains flooding, but you guys did have a giant flood here that happened.
We did.
And what year was that in?
That was 2013. And in September, which normally in Colorado is dry, right? And we had several days of rain, and then we had a day with like our annual rainfall in one day. I think more in like 6 hours. And it is the Rocky Mountains. What little ground there is was saturated, and so all that water just ran right down the hill. And it came right through Lyons and several other canyons. It was a major disaster. I was telling you, we would be sitting in floodwater.
Right now.
Our butts would be wet. In not,
Yeah.
it's not pleasant water.
Oh, heck no.
No, it's disgusting.
I always told people that when I was on active duty in the Coast Guard, we would do flood recovery in the western rivers and stuff, and people were like, "Oh, that's probably amazing," and I was like, "It's actually disgusting," because I almost fell in a septic tank. I stepped on it, and I knew automatically what I'd stepped in. And you're walking around in that nasty water, but the feeling of recovering people and helping them is great. But at the same time, you have to worry out the health aspect of that. And I'm sure the recovery here took forever.
Yes, we lost 20% of the housing in our town. But for me, it was really kind of an amazing experience. We were, I'm not going to say we were lucky. We have a fire protection district that, I'll just say they had their training well done. They knew the low-lying areas. They knew their swiftwater rescue. And as a result, in Lyons, we did lose one life. But stories I've heard, I'm impressed we didn't lose more. Those guys saved people, seriously. And our distillery was sitting kind of at the opening of town, and the National Guard set up their checkpoint right out in front of us. And for months, I got to see groups of engineers, Boy Scouts, church groups, excavators, whatever, companies coming through here. Our parking lot was a good place where they could, as I like to say, they could circle their wagons, get their group together, and then go through the checkpoint and go do whatever they were going to do.
Yeah.
And I talked to so many people who had worked Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Sandy and other major natural disasters. And they're like, you guys are kind of, you're pretty impressive here, because everybody's just like rolling up their sleeves and getting to work. Nobody's shooting each other, and nobody's like stealing other people's stuff. And I'm like, well, that's a benefit of being in a small town, but it's kind of a Colorado thing, right? Where we took care of each other. And that's when I learned how important our community was. And we supported the community, but the community supported us. And that's how things should be.
Now, this wall behind us is from those trees that were like washed down from the flood, right?
Yes, exactly. These are cross sections of lumber that was knocked down by the floodwater.
And you guys recovered some of it and saved it.
Yep.
And,
Yep. One of my business
repurposed.
partners, lived by the river, and he saved this stuff and repurposed it.
I love it. What a beautiful backdrop.
I have to also mention that we're sitting in a pair of shipping containers. So look at the beautiful things you can do.
I mean, it's definitely repurposed and stuff. Well, Craig, we're at the end of the first half. What a great conversation we've had so far. Two amazing whiskeys. I got to tell you folks that if you're in Denver or around Denver, if you come into Colorado Springs, make the drive up here. If you go into Rocky Mountain National Park, come in here, come to this distillery, and visit Craig and his staff here. And we're going to dive deeper into your whiskey and your story on the second half. I can't wait for it. And you hinted at a giveaway. We do got a giveaway, folks. You're going to have to do a little work for this. Nothing is free in life, but you're not going to have to sweat unless you sweat while moving your fingers. But stick with us, and we'll be right back for the second half. The Whiskey Trip is proudly sponsored by Guardian Coins, a veteran, family-owned and operated company that understand what it truly means to honor service, story, and tradition. Guardian Coins just doesn't make the challenge coins. They craft symbols of pride, legacy, and camaraderie. From military units and first responders to distilleries, brands, and special events, every coin is designed with purpose and built to last. Here at the Whiskey Trip, our official Whiskey Trip Challenge coin was brought to life by Guardian Coins, and it represents exactly what this ride is all about. Craftsmanship, community, and sharing a great pour with amazing people. From custom artwork to flawless finishes, Guardian Coins works with you one-on-one to turn your vision into something tangible, something you can hold, collect, and pass down. So if you're looking to create a coin that tells your story, whether it's from your unit, your brand, or your next big milestone, trust the folks who know how much that story matters. Visit Guardian Coins on Facebook and tell them Big Chief from the Whiskey Trip sent you. Now pour something good and let's get back to the ride. All right, folks, we're back for the second half with this episode with Spirit Hound Distillers here in Lyons, Colorado. I got Craig with me, and Craig, man, this has been an amazing conversation.
Thank you. It's
you
fun.
know, like you said, it's bourbon bullshitting.
It sure is.
Well, we're not drinking bourbon today, though. No. We're drinking other stuff. Now, you got two other pours up here for us, and the last one, I'm going to have to respect this one.
Yes, you will.
But the first pour, what do we got in the first glass?
This is what we call Colorado honey, and this is not a honey liqueur. This is a whiskey. We take a malt whiskey barrel that we've freshly emptied, and we give it to some friends just near here who have an apiary. They keep bees and they make honey, and so they'll put 300 pounds of honey into this used whiskey barrel. And they'll let that honey age for about 3 months. They rotate the barrel to try to get all the goodie out of it. And then they dump the honey out of the barrel. And you know how the honey jar is. It doesn't all just come out, right?
Sure.
So just imagine that honey jar, that little thin layer of honey all over the honey jar. Just imagine that in a barrel. So that's the barrel that we get back. And we take a barrel of our malt whiskey that would be available for bottling, and instead of bottling it, we finish it for about 3 months in that used honey barrel. And so we pick up some sweetness, but more importantly, we pick up a lot of honey aroma and honey flavor, which complements the kind of, we tend to get a lot of honey notes in our malt whiskey anyway. So
yeah.
It's a good collaboration.
I can get that out of your just your regular standard malt whiskey. Well, cheers. Let's taste this
cheers.
joker.
Yeah, awesome.
Not an overpowerful honey. It's not like a liqueur. Some can be too much, especially if you try to proof it down and then do the honey. The honey can overpower the whiskey.
I agree.
This still would be. It almost reminds me of when I first met my wife, and we went on this camping trip, and she was like, "I want you to try ice wine." Because she grew up in Germany, and they do a lot of ice wines over there, and this has a lot of those characteristics. A lot of that sugar comes out, those fruit notes, and I'm getting some of those fruit notes on here, not just the honey.
Right.
And I love that memory. You know, we were talking about that in the break of those memories coming out, and I love that brings out that ice wine trip that we had, and awesome. The adventures we've had, like this Colorado trip so far. I got to tell you, other than Texas, Colorado has got to be one of my favorite states just for the adventures that we could have had. Like yesterday, we went to Pikes Peak. We drove up Pikes Peak,
Beautiful.
2,500 heavy duty pickup. Then we went to the Garden of the Gods and
Also beautiful.
took some photos there. And then we went to Seven Falls and looked at the falls and ate there at 1858, an amazing restaurant. It's the staff there is great, and they even let me mess around with their cocktails a little bit and changed the gin to whiskey. And, a great adventure.
You've had a good trip.
Yeah, we can get a lot done in 2 or 3 days. And we went to like 3 bars yesterday, and then we've been to a brewery. We visited some other distillers, and we've had a great trip so far. Ate some amazing food, and now I'm getting a sip on amazing American Single Malts with my friend here, Craig. Now it's going to be a lifelong friend, a tinker.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you buttered me up with some of that honey, so
It is. Yeah. We brought the honey up earlier, right? You would get friends with honey.
I'm Pooh Bear right now. I'm Pooh Bear. But what's some great whiskey right here. Now, have you thought about doing some other types of finishes like this?
Well, we have. We have done other finishes. We have a connection with a brewery in Grand Rapids, Michigan called Founders. And
Yeah, I know them.
Yep. So they take their breakfast stout and they age it in bourbon barrels from Kentucky. And they do a version they call Kentucky Breakfast Stout. So
Okay.
barrel-aged beer. And we get those beer barrels from Founders, and then we finish our malt whiskey back in, it was a bourbon barrel, then it was a beer barrel, now it's a malt whiskey finish. And it's fantastic. We pick up some really dark, chocolatey kind of notes from the beer. We've done tequila barrel aged finished, or tequila finished malt. And I was a super skeptic, and I didn't expect it to be any good, and I was wrong.
That sucks when you're wrong.
6 months. My wife is going to enjoy the fact that I used the word wrong. Usually I say I'm incorrect, but the tequila came out fantastic, especially at cask strength. I thought the tequila would just not play well with the malt, and it would just overwhelm it and just kind of stomp it out. But what happens is it's malt up front, and then on the finish, when you exhale, the tequila comes out in the top of the palate, and it's super pleasant. So that was a really fun one as well. And again, the sherry finish that we had on the first half, that was another finish that we've done. So finishing is turning into something that's really fun. It's a way to incorporate new flavors into a base product that I know and love and has been very successful for me. And I can, branch it out a little bit, if you will.
Now, have you ever did other grains that are malted, like a malted corn or a malted wheat because a malted wheat to me, I grew up on malt oatmeal.
Sure.
Or cream of wheat.
Cream of wheat,
right?
Yep.
And I'm always fascinated by those types of whiskey. If somebody can do it, but have you thought about doing another whiskey like that?
We have thought about a lot of things. We do a rye whiskey with half malted rye and half raw rye, 70%, 35% raw rye, 35% malted rye, and 30% malt.
I mean, they do grow a lot of wheat here in Colorado.
Do. And I have not done a wheated whiskey yet.
We're going to have to talk after the show.
Apparently.
I don't want to give anybody my ideas away.
We have several farmers growing heirloom wheat in the Front Range. And so there's an opportunity for me to get very small batch, delicious wheat and get it malted and make whiskey out of it.
maybe some Big Chief collaboration.
Yeah, there we go.
With some Big Chief art on it, man. I tell you what, that sells whiskey right there. These ideas, it costs people money too, but I think I got some listeners out there. Listeners, let me know in the comments for this in this YouTube video if you would be interested in some kind of American Single Malt. It's 100% malted wheat whiskey. I got some different ideas, but I can't tell them all. So, but
you got to hang on to some of them.
I do have to, but I'm gonna share my secrets with you. I'm gonna open up my Big Chief's brain for you. So, after you're done with these barrels, what are you guys doing with all your used barrels around here?
Very simple. We have a big beer world here in Colorado, as we talked about earlier, and I have several brewers in the state who really love our barrels in particular. They have good luck with them, getting good flavors. We've had several that have, managed to become medal-winning beers, being finished in Spirit Hound malt whiskey barrels, or bourbon or rye barrels. But we sell them all, and I try to keep them all for beverage purpose. I get a lot of people that are in, hey, can I buy a barrel, and I want to make a Adirondack chair out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course I love the idea, but I would rather that this barrel continues its beverage life at least one more round before it gets turned into a piece of furniture.
Sure.
Because this, oak it's precious. It's a precious commodity.
You should lease the barrels instead of selling them.
No, maybe I should.
And they come back to you.
Oh, well, we'll talk about these ideas too.
I heard somebody say that the other day, and I was like, ding, 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 ding. I was like, man, that's a great idea right there. So, you guys aren't just a distillery here. You're also a full service bar here in Colorado. What could somebody come in here? What kind of cocktail could somebody come in here and get?
Oh, we have a great cocktail program. So in Colorado, until a little over a year ago, we're a tasting room, which we are granted a tasting room license as part of our manufacturing license. And one of the stipulations forever was that we could only sell products that we produced. Right? So that limits us, right? So if I wanted to make a Negroni with our gin, I can't go buy Campari and do that, right? So
you'd have to make it yourself, a
which
lot of states are like that.
Yep.
These
so
antiquated laws that suck.
They're getting better.
They are.
Because of that, for a long time, we spent a lot of effort making our own bitters, building our own, air quotes, vermouth, things like this to make cocktails with. And in about a year and a half ago, the state changed the rules a little bit to allow us to have alcohol modifiers. So we can now buy Campari, and I can make you a Negroni with Campari. The rule is currently that I have to mix it. We have to combine it with our spirits, right?
Sure.
But that opens things up. For example, we can have beer, but we only in a beer cocktail or, a Boilermaker or something where it's combined. There's legislation that is now changing again that's going to allow us to serve other products without combining them.
So you'll be able to make your own beer too?
Well, we could. I don't want to. I'm tired.
You're tired
I'm busy.
making beer?
I got to make whiskey.
I love it. Well, we got one last pour here, and I'm going to give this one a little extra time, folks, because this is a pretty special pour. You pulled this little bottle, this little 375 bottle out, and I was like, what's he pulling out there?
Yeah, so for you folks at home, I took Mike and Vivian over to what I call the whiskey library, which is literally a library of my whiskey that we've made for years. And because we do single barrel bottling, I saved a few bottles of almost every barrel that we ever bottled. And so this is like shelves and shelves of, more than 500 different barrels of whiskey that have been bottled here. And we were talking about hazmat whiskeys as part of this process. And because I have the library, my 9th rye barrel, we made a mistake. It went into the barrel at 125 proof, but because we're so small, we didn't have enough rye to finish filling the barrel, so it only filled about 2/3 of the way. And our plan was next time we made rye, which is rare, we were going to top it off, and we forgot. And so in Colorado, where it's high and dry, when you have a barrel that's, has a big empty space in it, we get a huge angel share loss. We get a lot of evaporative loss.
It's sucking all the water out and leaving alcohol in. As I've talked about on other shows.
Yeah. We're high and dry here, especially in Colorado. The water leaves faster out of the barrel. And we opened up this barrel and tested the proof, and, it's 155 proof. And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of crazy. So, and again, you guys at home know all these rules probably, but hazmat whiskey would be over 140 proof.
Yep.
Because the FAA won't let you fly with it, right? Because it could be flammable. So this is 155 proof. It's really fun for me to be able to taste something at this proof and enjoy it. Certainly don't slug it down, but it's rich and thick in other ways. It's not just the ethanol that's pronounced, it's all the other flavors are bigger too, because it has not been cut down.
I gotta say, the nose on this baby right here is these, those chocolate liqueurs that you can get with, that's what I'm getting on this right here is these rich, deep chocolate notes. If you've ever been to like Hershey, Pennsylvania, went to the chocolate factory there and just smelled chocolate cooking, or when I was a kid, my grandmother would make dessert, and she would make this Mississippi mud cake. Oh. And I mean, it's rich, and I'm telling you, this has got every bit of that right there. Well, I gotta taste it. This is killing me. Say cheers to you, my friend. Man. Now, we were talking about horehound candies.
Yes.
And I get a little bit. We were talking about that horehound candy, and
yes.
I get a little bit of that horehound candy on this right here. Some rich chocolate notes. I always say, I tease my wife all the time about this, but bonbons or the chocolate-covered cherries that people used to buy their wives back in the day.
Chocolate-covered cherries.
Is all day long.
The heirloom rye that we're using is a big producer of like black cherry notes. So a lot of our rye whiskeys tend to have a really nice black cherry kind of note to them.
I think the proof on this, it doesn't drink 150. It drinks like 105, 110 to me. If you've been a long time whiskey drinker, like both of us have been, you probably really appreciate this. This is not something, like you said, that you're just going to sit down and gulp down.
No.
You better behave yourself.
Yep.
Sip on it.
Yep. Have a chair.
This is amazing. And now, as it sits on my palate, I get this. On my palate, you get a little bit of this smokiness to it. Mm-hmm. That campfire smokiness that I love. That not so much s'mores campfire. But maybe like if you've ever cooked a pie on a smoker, I'm kind of famous for that, as cooking, some cobbler on a smoker or something.
And now you're making me hungry.
With just a tad bit of that smokiness to it. Yeah, is what a beautiful whiskey, Craig.
Isn't this fantastic?
Yeah. Why don't you make more of this?
Well, my system does not do well with making rye whiskey, so we literally will release.
I don't think nobody's does.
Yeah, right. Three barrels of rye whiskey a year. And again, this one was kind of a happy accident. And again, I'm happy because I have the whiskey library and we can share this and talk about it to people because it really is, it is fantastic. And I would agree, I would guess 110 proof-ish.
Yeah, I think some people would be. The thing about this is that, and really where the one whiskey had very long legs to it, it's very sticky. This has some legs on it, but not like that.
Not like that, no.
This is just thick and rich, though. It's just layer after layer of flavor. It's just opening up with this long finish and stuff. This thing is a tank of a whiskey.
It's a treat.
And that's why we wanted to drink it last, was to appreciate it, let it sit on our palates a little bit, sit here and shoot the shit for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So what does the future of Spirit Hound Distillers look like?
Well, we love making spirits, and we're talking about whiskey, mostly malt. We did some rye. We have all kinds of other SKUs. We do gins, and we have a few liqueurs. None of that was by design initially. It just sort of happened. Like one of my business partners was like, after a big meal, I think his mom is Italian. They would sip sambuca when he was a little kid. He's like, "Could you make some sambuca?" I don't know. Let me try it. Well, we made a sambuca, and very literally 2 times I've had beautiful little old ladies from Italy touring through here to coming up to Rocky Mountain with their family, and they try our sambuca, and they're like, "This is just what I had when I was a kid. I remember this one with my family in Italy." And I'm like, all right, well, we hit the mark on that.
Yeah, there's no other way to say it. I'm glad they didn't come in here and say, "Oh, you didn't make it as good as they do in Italy." I love that somebody said, "Hey, you made it just as good." It reminded me when I was a kid.
Yeah, and we really we have kind of a legacy of a pretty high hit rate on making quality spirits, and I don't like to use the word luck. Because you make your luck, right?
Sure.
Serendipity may be better, because things align at the right time. But we have, I have a shirt that the staff made for me that it says, "Alcoholic beverages just like me to make them," right? So I have a knack for doing this, and I enjoy the heck out of it. And the part that's not luck is the part that is not luck is the serious research that goes into it, and the time reading and understanding about some of these products and what they should taste like and what ingredients should go in them to make the product that matches the expectation of quality. But for me, the best part is just to be able to be creative and make something that I don't have bean counters telling me that your malt is too expensive. They tell me that, "Craig, I want you to make the best stuff you can make." And what glorious freedom that is, to be able to just be like, if my coffee liqueur costs more to make it, I don't care.
That's the way you should live life, is try to live it like that. Is just damn the torpedoes, right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Full steam ahead.
Now, I do got to ask you this, because you do have this amazing cocktail bar over there. Your whiskey sours. Do you use egg whites? That's a big thing for me.
Yes, we do. I don't know if that's currently on the menu, but yes.
Well, I went to a bar and I said, I asked the guy, that's usually my first question, "Do you have egg whites?" And he's for a cocktail, and he's like, "No, that's a kitchen thing." No, that's a bar thing, buddy.
It's a bar thing.
And I hate to tell you, but all you have to do is get some eggs and keep them here, and a couple eggs. Really, an egg is not that expensive.
They're not expensive.
And you can keep an egg for a long time.
And there's nothing better than a whiskey sour that is just that beautiful foam. It's so amazing.
It doesn't. I always tell people that that would be like a opener for people that aren't into whiskey, so they can get into whiskey. Is a whiskey sour with egg whites. It's like drinking a key lime pie. Is my best explanation of it.
That's a great description.
And it, I loved a gateway cocktail or a gateway whiskey, which I got to say the whiskey, the honey whiskey, could be a gateway whiskey for people.
And it has been. That's a very popular product. I love it when we have people make comments that, I don't drink whiskey, or I don't like whiskey, but we like this.
I love that. That introduces people to whiskey. Now, you're in a whiskey family too. You were telling me that your wife is into whiskey and loves whiskey. How does she drink whiskey?
It's funny, when she started, we met when she started here, 10, 12 years ago, I don't know. And she didn't like whiskey because she was drinking the likes of Kentucky Gentlemen, And yeah, oof, right? We do this thing in Lyons.
Hopefully you don't make Kentucky gentlemen.
We do a thing in Lyons we call the whiskey slap. And I think the whole idea is to help you forget how terrible the whiskey you're drinking is. So you take a shot of whiskey, you swallow it, I slap the crap out of you, and then I kiss your cheek to seal it with a kiss, and then I drink my whiskey and you slap me and give me a kiss. And it's a small town kind of thing. It's goofy, but it's best done with crappy whiskey because as soon as you get slapped, you forget about how bad that whiskey was.
Now, Craig, I hate to tell you, buddy, but if you and I did that, if I slapped you, your day's over with.
Yeah, I want to go second.
You ain't going. No, you do not.
I'm not going.
You want to go first. You want to slap me first. You don't want to go second. No, you don't want these big old. You don't want these
meat hooks. No,
nobody wants that. I love it. I love this conversation.
Yeah, and she, my wife Amanda, started a group called the Whiskey Wenches, which is a spirits education group for women. Because when we started the distillery, we realized demographics are set up such that men drink most of the whiskey, and
it's about right now. It's about a 70-30 is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And I honestly look at that as missing market share. Right? There are people out there on the planet who could be enjoying whiskey, who for one reason or another aren't, because maybe they're scared of it or they don't understand it, and that's what her group does. And it's really fun to see. First of all, how large of a group of interested women she has in learning about spirits. And they've developed gin and whiskey recipes and distilled them and barreled them. They're not just sitting around. They're learning hands-on.
Yeah. I can't agree with you more. Now, I did climb on a bus yesterday, and these ladies asked us to take some photos of us. My wife offered me up as a photographer to these women yesterday. 6 women, they're of Indian descent. And from all over the United States, they came here. They're first cousins for a trip to Colorado, and we took the photo of them. And then I started talking to them, and we started talking about whiskey. Imagine that.
Weird.
But they all 6 said, we all 6 drink whiskey. And I was like, I told my wife, I said, you know how odd that is that 6 women that I just run into would drink whiskey?
Yeah.
Now, India is the number 1 consumer of whiskey in the world right now.
Yeah.
They are the most populous country on the face of the earth right now. And I've said this over and over and over, they are going to shock some people with their single malts, with their other whiskeys. But we better
I've
take
had some
notice.
Pretty darn good single malts from India.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But their society, their culture loves whiskey. She said, hey, we got whiskey stuck in our hand when we were kids. And I was very interested by that conversation with her and stuff, that she took the time, number 1, to sit down and talk to me. And then she looked me up. She found me like right away. She was like, oh, this is you. And I was like, yeah, that's me. And then I was on top of the Pikes Peak, and a young man, I'm sitting there, I pulled the camera out and I'm filming a little bit and just enjoying. I'm trying to be a tourist, right?
Yeah.
And he keeps looking at me, and he was like, you're an influencer, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, a little bit, or a blogger. And I said, yeah. And he's like, you talk about whiskey. And I said, yeah. And he's like, you just talked about Oban 15 on your show. You had it on a show. And I was like, oh, yeah, I had it on a show with another podcast or a YouTube channel called The Noble Dram. Some great guys that love whiskey, that are not pretentious. I hate being pretentious, right? People that are like, oh, let me put that pinky out. Well, guess what? You shouldn't be like that.
No.
But he'd watched my show, and yesterday taught me that I'm right about that country and their appreciation and diversity. And I think you're right about women in whiskey. We're missing the mark on introducing women to whiskey. And maybe that's come from the late 1800s till now, where women were shamed for drinking whiskey. Yeah. They've been taught to drink wine. They haven't been taught properly to drink whiskey. maybe from college or from younger years, everybody thinks that, hey, wild turkey is supposed to be shot back when it's not.
Right.
It's a great whiskey. It just needs to be education, right?
Yeah, it is all about education.
I think that's amazing. So whiskey winches. Maybe we can get these whiskey winches on a whiskey trip and do a whole show on that.
I think that would be great.
And I always love those kind of questions. So I always like to do, and I've did this on several shows, and I haven't did it in a while, but I always like to have a great conversation. And Craig, our conversation has been amazing. But I like to do a little speed round here. Okay. So short, quick answers. Yeah. And you're of the age where you're not going to get any trouble for any of these whiskey questions, right? So my first question for you in the speed round would be, what was your first whiskey you ever drank?
First whiskey was Cutty Sark, Scotch whiskey, blended Scotch, because my friend worked at a liquor store, or worked in a restaurant, had a liquor store on the side, and the whiskey that he could nab on his way out the door was Cutty Sark, because it was by the back door.
Awesome. Favorite whiskey cocktail?
My personal favorite whiskey cocktail, I love an old fashioned. I like to try old fashions all over the planet, but they tend to be a little sweet for me. I like to be spirit forward. We do a cocktail here called the Robert Burns, after Robert Burns in Scotland, the poet laureate of Scotland, with cask strength whiskey. So it's very spirit forward.
Spirit forward, I love it. What's your favorite expression that you guys make?
I think my favorite expression was the sherry cask.
To date, that's your
favorite
expression.
Yep. Well, honestly, my favorite barrel is barrel number 3.
What's your date?
Third barrel of whiskey I ever made.
Third barrel.
I'm chasing that still.
That's great to have something to chase and a goal, right?
Yeah.
Favorite beer that you drink?
Oh. Well, I like a lot of beer. I drink IPAs. I'm lightening up on them, but here in Colorado, Odell IPA.
Odell IPA.
Yep, I love that beer so much.
Awesome, I love it. I love that right there. If you could send somebody to one distiller in Colorado besides yourself, where would you send them to?
That's tough because I've got about 3 or 4.
Well, let's name them all 4.
Okay.
Fuck it.
My friends in Longmont, Dryland Distillers.
Dryland, okay.
Using all heirloom grain and a lot of wheat. Leopold Brothers, fantastic guys, the best. And I have a lot of appreciation for 80 Laws, for Laws whiskey.
So I've had Laws on. I haven't had the other 2 on, and I'm going to be honest with listeners. I have tried to get Leopold Brothers on the show, and it seems like I failed every time. But maybe eventually I will. Sometimes I only call 3 times, and then I'm just like, okay, you're going to have to reach out to me.
Yeah, Todd and Scott are amazing people, but I think they're busy doing their own thing. You know?
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. So, since we're talking about that, let's talk a little bit about the Colorado Distillers Guild.
Yep. We have Distillers Guild that's been active for, 15 years or so. And it's a great way for distillers in Colorado to group together. We try to make sure and keep an eye on legislation that affects our business. And we also try to just do anything we can to collaborate and help I call it like floating the boat, right? We're the rising tide.
Raise all
the ships,
yep.
Right? And we're all little. So the guild is a way for us to kind of group together and have a larger voice than we normally would. And the guild has been a remarkable force. We do have a spirits trail in Colorado that's operated by the guild. And so I encourage people to check that out on our website, because when you come to Colorado, by golly, you should visit a bunch of distilleries.
Well, that's what we're trying to do, is visit a bunch of distilleries and talk about Colorado whiskey and lift folks up. That's what it's all about to me. Well, Craig, what an amazing conversation we've had. We got this giveaway bottle right here. Tell us, what is this giveaway bottle right here?
This is our sherry cask finish. So I'll do the long-winded name. The sherry was Palo Cortado. So it's a Palo Cortado sherry cask finished American Single Malt whiskey that is also bottled in bond.
Wow. A great bottle of whiskey.
Great bottle of whiskey.
So what we're going to get listeners to do all week long for 7 straight days, I want you to put in for this. We're going to post out every day on it, starting with the very first post, which announces the podcast. Make sure you put in for this. The way we're going to ask folks to put in for this, because it is Spirit Hound. They got a dog on their label. Put an emoji of a dog. Tag 4 friends. Follow Spirit Hound Distillers on Instagram and on Facebook. Follow the Whiskey Trip podcast. That's a great giveaway. You got to be 21. You got to reside in the United States. You got to like and share the post as well. So that's what we're going to ask you to do. We'll do that for 7 straight days. I'll pair a Whiskey Trip rocks glass with that bottle right there. So you got a chance to get either one of those, or both of them, not just one of them. But you got to put in the work to get that. I don't use a randomizer. I pick people that actually care about the distillers that I work with, and
nice.
that care about my show and care about old Big Chief and Miss Viv. That matters to me. People that have stuck with me, long-time listeners, new listeners that show the love, you get picked as well. I think there's a lot of folks out there that would testify to that, doing it that way. I think a randomizer just is like, you're just picking somebody.
Yeah.
I want
love.
Yeah, I want people to show love to Craig here and the Spirit Hound Distillers here in Lyons, Colorado.
Appreciate that.
Craig, where can listeners find you guys on social media?
You can find us on Instagram as Spirit Hound Distillers and Facebook as Spirit Hound Distillers, and www.spirithounddistillers.com. And on our website, you have a chance to do some online ordering in 37 states across the country.
So you can pick your stuff up and get it shipped to
you. You can get it shipped, and if you're not in one of those states, well then,
come on by.
Get off your butts and come to Colorado and see me.
How many liquor stores are you in here?
Well, we're well represented all through Colorado.
All through Colorado.
Yep, and we're in Michigan, Arkansas, Missouri, and a few other western states as well.
I think Miss Viv would say I've stopped at every liquor store in Colorado already. Is that true? We do visit a lot of liquor stores, but I think a lot of whiskey nerds do. They see one, they're like, "Oh, let me see it." I gotta say that you got a plethora of whiskey in this state, allocated. Just it blows my mind of how other states are like almost dry. And then come to Colorado, there's just stuff. Some of it's outpriced.
Yeah.
And I think the whiskey bust has happened.
Yeah.
And that we're going to see those prices come down a little bit.
And I can afford some more whiskey again.
Yeah. I mean, and I love that about you, that you're honest and I drink other whiskeys.
Of course.
That's called market research.
Yes, it is. And I love whiskey. And I want to throw in a shout
Go
out
ahead,
to our independent retailers in Colorado. Have been incredible supporters of not just Spirit Hound, but craft spirits and craft beer. So, thank you to all those guys. And so if you're in Colorado, you can find us in all kinds of stores.
I love it. Now, I got one last question before we leave, just for you to show some love. Who are some distillers out there? You can name more than one here in Colorado or around the country that have helped raise you guys up.
We talked about Westward, right? And I think here in Colorado, our good friends, Leopold Brothers, AD Laws, Vapor Distilling in Boulder, those guys are awesome. Alistair is he's a Scotsman, and he's making outstanding whiskeys. And, our good friends all the way down in a little town called Salida, Woods High Mountain. Those guys are great.
I'm going to have to seek them out.
Yes.
My next trip to Colorado, I think that's what we'll have to do.
Yep. And there's more, but and for those who I missed, you guys know who I love.
Well, Craig, I can't say enough about it, about this trip to Spirit Hound Distillers. I really do appreciate it. Any last words for listeners?
Yes. Support the small guy, right? We're in a position where I can go to Denver and go to a fancy restaurant that's very proud of their tradition of local, right? Local farms. We get our pork comes from here, our beef comes from here, and they have a tap wall of 40 different Colorado craft beers. But when you look at the back bar of spirits, you still don't quite see that we've broken through, and there's still the large producers, not saying that they don't make good products, but to your listeners, please support us small guys, whether you're in Colorado or throughout the country, because it really means jobs, and you're supporting artistry, and you're supporting local stuff.
I couldn't have said it better, but I could testify to that. And I'll shame a general manager of a bar or a restaurant when I don't see local spirits on the shelf. I don't know why that bothers me so much, but it does. I'm like, good Lord, get off your ass and do some market research and figure out what is local here and help you want them. They'll ask you to send people to their restaurant, but they won't have your liquor on the shelf. And that's what bothers me so much.
Yeah, and we need that support. And as we talked about before, we have a great distilling community in Colorado. We're making some really good stuff, and people are happy to drink it. They are happy to enjoy it, and please seek us out.
Well, Craig, once again, thank you so much for having me into your distillery. Shooting the shit with me for a little bit and sharing your story with me. I always say I want to be the Paul Harvey of whiskey.
Nice.
That's really what I want to do. I want to steal your stories and give them to my listeners, and put your name into history. I think that's what any person would want to be, is remembered through time, and this is a way to do it, is record that for future generations to see an artist.
Well, awesome.
The Rembrandt of whiskey.
Well, thank you for drinking my whiskey.
Yes, sir. Well, listeners, you know where you can find old Big Chief. You can find me at The Whiskey Trip on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and now YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Now, if you listen to me, listen to Mark and Matt of the Bourbon Life and the whole crew there. They all do an amazing job. The only one that doesn't is the guy that drinks that old tub. It sucks. But seriously, if you're giving them a listen and you give me a listen, make sure you leave us some comments and a review on Apple Podcast. We'd really appreciate that. If you're leaving them comments, leave them over my Facebook page. I'm up to over 100 now, but I think a new goal would be 200 reviews. You'll see a lot of my reviews from distillers on there that profess their love for me, respect for me, that will tell you that I'm a truth teller of whiskey. So I'd really appreciate it. Those reviews, those comments, what they truly do is get great whiskey in my hand, like this Spirit Hound Distillers, get great guests on my show, like Mr. Craig here, and it allows me to share his story with you. So if you have a distillery in your backyard that you want me to tell their story, get them to reach out to me, Mike at The Whiskey Trip. I'm very approachable. All you got to do is share some whiskey with me. That's all you got to do. And I'll tell your story. I'll tell the truth on it. I'm not shock and awe. I'm not trying to destroy your company. I'm trying to raise up the small craft distilleries out there. So keep watching, keep listening, put in for this giveaway. This is old Big Chief, and thanks for taking this ride with me, baby.